Racers, John Racer 3 here today to kick off the start of the Hot Wheels Global Diecast Championship. As you can see in front of you, you have 8 teams and 16 drivers that are going to be taking on the John Racer 3 two-lane super speedway in a 4-car battle to see which cars can score the most points and have the best finishes throughout the season. Now, a couple things before we get started as the season progresses. As you watch this season unfold, one of the main things to think about is team strategy. We have a fan team controlled by you guys over at the dgp.global Instagram page. If that's something that interests you and you want to get involved, you can go ahead and check it out there. But all of these teams are going to be competing against each other for 40 races. Now, after the first 20 races, all of these cars are going to score playoff points based on where they finish in the season points. Then the points will be reset for the basic cars. The teams will keep their points, and then if teams want to put in a new car in their roster, they will be able to compete in the championship during the second half of the season or the last 20 races. After that, even more playoff points will be awarded for the cars. All of those graphics will be on your screen, so you won't have to worry about that. But on top of that, all of these cars are going to be racing to try and win a driver's championship as well as a team championship at the end of the regular season. The season will end off with an 8-car playoffs to crown ourselves a champion. Before we get started, let's go ahead and take a look at our teams. First up, we have the team controlled by you guys, the fans. The voted on name was the Record Runners, and this black and red combo for these cars are going to be represented with the black Lamborghini Aventador and the red Ferrari FXX, the reserve car being that Corvette C8. And remember, the reserve car only comes into play if one of the cars wrecks in its race. That way the team can also score some points. So if you're a fan, this is the team you should be cheering for. After that, this wouldn't be a global diecast championship if we didn't include cars and teams from around the world. We've got Team Italy with the Ferrari 458 and the Lamborghini Reventon with that Lancia as their reserve car. We have Team EU with the BMW M2 and the Porsche 911 GT3 RS with the Bugatti Divo as their reserve car. We've got Team Hot Wheels with some very famous Hot Wheels castings. We got Dior 2 and the Hot Wheels Bone Shaker competing for points with that Solero GT fantasy car as their reserve. We've got Team JDM or Team Japan with the Nissan Skyline 2000 and the Acura NSX or Honda NSX. I think that's technically an Acura NSX there, representing and scoring some points for that team with a Nissan GTR R34 is their reserve. And then we have Team UK, one of the stronger teams coming into the season just based on the sheer speed of both of these cars. We got a Jaguar XJ220 and a Lotus Evija scoring some points with the McLaren P1 as their reserve driver. And then we have Team USA with the Tesla Model 3 and the Dodge Viper ACR as their point scoring cars. And then we got that Ford Mustang Mach-E there as their reserve. And then for our final and 8th team, we have Team 3. So essentially, this is my team that I'm competing with in this championship. We got the gold Lamborghini Sesto Elemento and the blue Bugatti Divo, because how could I not include that car in this series, with a gold Greenwood Corvette as their reserve. All of these cars are going to be going head-to-head a ton for this season, and it's all going to come down to who can score the most amount of points. Let's get right to the racing. Kicking off the first Diecast Grand Prix of the Global Diecast Championship, we got the Jaguar XJ220 in first, the BMW M2 in second, the Nissan Skyline 2000 in third, and the Lamborghini Reventon in fourth. Let's see who takes it after lap 1. Some chaos around the corner. The BMW is going to spin around, and it's going to be the Nissan actually making a move past that Team EU car. Looks like the Jaguar XJ220 is going to run away with the lead, and the Reventon is going to flip over on the first lap. That means we have to bring out the Team Italy reserve car. As we go into lap 2, that Jag still holding the lead, but then we got the Team Japan Nissan on the outside, and that Lancia reserve car for Team Italy brings up the rear. Let's see what happens after lap 2. A good push from the BMW is going to propel the Team UK and Team EU cars to the front as we go into lap 3. The Nissan's going to hold his position over the Lancia, and we've got one more lap to go. It may be the last lap, and anything can happen. That Jag and BMW look fast, but who's going to come out of turn 1 on top? Let's find out to see who wins the first race. Look at that, a huge push. Oh, and look at that. It's going to be some chaos at the very end. A huge push from the Nissan is going to propel the Jaguar up, but it's not going to matter. He wrecks on the backstretch, and it's going to be the BMW M2 taking the win for Team EU. Team Japan second. Team UK is third, and then that reserve car for Italy brings up the rear of our first race. Man, chaos on the last lap. This season is going to breed some incredible racing. For our next Diecast Grand Prix of the Global Diecast Championship, we have the Bugatti Divo starting first with Diora 2 and Bone Shaker for Team Hot Wheels behind, followed up with that Lotus Evija. Let's see what happens after lap 1. They're close as they go into the first corner. It looks like the Devo's going to lose a ton of spots on that back straightaway. Team Hot Wheels is going to race to the front with Diora taking the win and Bone Shaker moving up to second. The Lotus moves up to third, and that Bugatti goes from first to fourth in the first lap. As we go into lap 2, the Diora 2 looks quick, but let's see what the other cars have to say about it. Look at that, the Lotus is going to sneak through the inside of the competition, through the corner, around turn 2 and to the start-finish line. An unbelievable move going into the third lap. It looks like Team Hot Wheels is going to shuffle their positions with Bone Shaker move in front of the Diora, and it looks like that Devo is not going to make anything happen on lap 2 either. One more lap to go. We've got one more lap to go, and that Lotus is on a mission from fourth to first. Let's see if the Lotus can bring it home for Team UK, but these other cars are trying to get a win. Let's see what happens after lap 3. A great run for the Lotus. Does the Bone Shaker have anything for him? No, and it does look like it. The Diora is going to barely sneak ahead of the Lotus at the very last second. Gets the distance on the Lotus on that inside lane. Bone Shaker falls back to third, and that Bugatti Divo stays in fourth. But what a clutch victory for the Diora, scoring some very valuable points for Team Hot Wheels. Kicking off week 2 of the Global Diecast Championship, we got the Dodge Viper ACR and the Tesla Model 3, both for Team USA starting at the front, with that Ferrari FXX and Acura NSX bringing up the rear. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, it's commotion through the corners. The NSX looks to the inside, but he's not quite going to get there. But look at that, he's going to give the FXX a little bit of a shove, causing the FXX to finish in front of the pack, which means he starts first for this next lap. The FXX flies up to first for the fans, with Team USA starting on that outside. The Viper's going to have his teammate pushing him. Let's see what happens after lap 2. Oh, look at that. The NSX is going to wreck out on the turn. The Tesla looks to the outside of the FXX, but he's not going to be able to get around. The fan team, Ferrari FXX, holds his lead. The Viper drops down to third, and the NSX finishes backwards fourth. He's got one more chance to score some points. The Ferrari FXX leads going into lap 3 with that Tesla on the outside. Can Team USA bring it back? Let's find out. Let's see what happens. Look at that, it's close. These cars are racing on the backstretch, and look at that pass. The Acura NSX is with an unbelievable move, passing the FXX on the last lap right before turn 2. Team Japan's going to take the win. The FXX is second, and then Team USA takes up the rear with the Tesla finishing third and the Viper finishing fourth. Man, what an exciting battle to end the first race of week 2 of the Global Diecast Championship. It only gets more exciting from here. For the next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Ferrari 458 starting first, with that Lamborghini Aventador starting on his outside. Got a Porsche 911 and a Lamborghini Sesto Elemento starting in the back. 4 teams. Let's see who comes out on top after lap 1. Looks like a little bit of chaos there after the corner as they roll down the backstretch. That's going to be how they finish. The Ferrari keeps his pole position. The Lamborghini keeps his second, and then the Sesto is going to move up to third, passing Team EU with that Porsche 911. As we go into lap 2, the Lamborghini and Porsche are looking to make some moves and move to the front row for lap 3. Let's see who finishes out on top. Look at that, the Lamborghini with a beautiful inside move, but he's going to lose his speed to the Ferrari 458, who manages to hold his lead, and the Lamborghini goes from last back to second in that lap. Man, the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento was looking so strong for Team 3, but he loses it at the very end. One more lap to see if he can make anything happen. We've got one more lap to go, and that Ferrari's holding a demanding lead. Can the Sesto make the pass stick this time? Let's find out. Look at that, the Sesto Elemento shoves the Ferrari out of the way like it's nothing. The Sesto Elemento takes the win, and right behind him, the Porsche 911 makes some moves happen on that final lap. The Ferrari moves back to third, and unfortunately, the Lamborghini Aventador, represented by the fans, is not going to be scoring a lot of points today. It's going to be the Sesto Elemento taking its first win. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have race winner Dior 2 starting up front with the Porsche 911 to his outside, the Lotus Evija in third, and the Bone Shaker in fourth. Let's see who comes out on top. Look at that, it's going to be the Porsche 911 making the pass stick on Dior, going all the way around to the finish line. Dior is going to finish second, Bone Shaker is going to finish third, and the Lotus is going to move back to fourth, going into lap 2. All of the racers switch lanes going into lap 2. Now the Porsche's up at the front. Can any of these cars make something happen going around the first turn? Look at that, it's going to be chaos. It looks like the Bone Shaker is going to lose it on the straightaway, spinning out, losing his third place position to the Lotus, who moves up to third, and that Porsche is going to defend his spot well, beating out the Dior going into lap number 3. Going into lap 3, the Porsche holds the lead, but now the Team Hot Wheels cars are bumper to bumper. Can they use teamwork to make something happen? Let's find out, and let's see who takes the win. Look at that, a huge push from the Evija is going to propel the Porsche all the way to victory like it's nothing. The 911 is going to take the win, and the Lotus is going to wreck on that backstretch, getting in front of both of the Team Hot Wheels cars who were not able to utilize teamwork to score points, valuable points in this race. So there you have it. The racing is getting intense, and the Lotus obviously has some beef with Team Hot Wheels. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the BMW M2 starting on pole position with that Lamborghini Sesto Elemento on his outside, and then the Dodge Viper and Ferrari 458 take up the rear. Let's see who comes out on top after lap 1. Look at that, the Sesto is going to have a good turn 1, but the BMW is going to get there before him. Both cars cross the finish line, but the M2 is going to hold his lead. The Ferrari moves up to third, and the Viper for Team USA moves down to fourth. As we go into lap 2, those front two cars look really fast. Will they be able to bring the fight to each other, or will one of them wreck? I guess we're just going to have to find out, see who comes out on top. Look at that, and speaking of a wreck, there's a huge wreck in the back of the pack. The Lamborghini Sesto Elemento this time is going to take the win and go all the way to the checkered flag. The M2 stays on the front row and finishes second going into lap 3, and it looks like our back runners, the 458 and the Dodge Viper, tango after coming out of turn 1. One more lap to go. The Sesto Elemento is lining up on the inside for the last lap. He's looking pretty good, but will the Viper or Ferrari have anything to combat these top two runners? Let's see who wins. A big push from the Ferrari is going to propel the Sesto Elemento all the way to the victory. And we've got chaos in the back. The Ferrari is going to finish second. And the BMW, after being at the front after the whole race, is going to fall back to fourth, getting beaten out by the Dodge Viper on the last stretch. A very close battle there, but it's going to be the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento for Team 3 taking home his second victory. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Nissan 2000 for Team JDM starting up front with that Bugatti Divo starting in second. Then we've got the Lamborghini Reventon and the Tesla Model 3 behind. Let's see what happens after lap 1. A good push from that Lamborghini is going to cause chaos on the backstretch, and the Divo's going to make his move, making a pass on the Nissan at the very last minute, moving to first for lap 2. The Nissan finishes second, the Lamborghini third, and that Tesla goes back to fourth. As we go into lap 2, now that Bugatti Divo holds the lead, but how long can he hold it? All these cars are looking for a win. Let's see what happens. It's really close going through turn 1, but it's going to be the Nissan pulling away in front of the Divo, with the Tesla also making a pass for third, moving the Lamborghini back to fourth. The positions are shuffling. Let's see who takes it after lap 3. It all comes down to this: who can come out on top. That Nissan is starting in first with the Bugatti on his outside, but we know that Tesla and Lamborghini want to take a win. Let's see who comes out on top. A great run for the Nissan is going to propel him to the victory. The Reventon tries to get past the Divo, but it's not going to work. Team Nissan for Team JDM is going to take the win today, with the Bugatti Divo for Team 3 finishing second. Italy finishes third, and Team USA, unfortunately, finishes fourth. We move on to next week. For the next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Ferrari FXX starting on pole position with that Jaguar to his outside. Then we have an Acura NSX and the Lamborghini Aventador behind. Let's see who comes out on top after lap 1. It's pretty clean going through turn one, but it's going to be the Jaguar absolutely running away with it. And then we have a bit of an accident in the back here. We got both of the fan team cars drop into the back of the pack, and the Acura NSX is going to move up to second, and we've got 2 more laps to go. The NSX moves up to the front row to accompany that Jaguar XJ220. Then we have the FXX and the Aventador bringing up the rear. Let's see what happens before lap 3. Look at that, huge push is given, but look at the Lamborghini Aventador go. A huge run. He's going to be able to complete the pass on the Jaguar to move himself to the very front before lap 3. The FXX also makes some moves as the NSX drops all the way to the back of the pack, and we've got 1 more lap to go. Things are getting really interesting. The Lamborghini Aventador starting in first on that inside with his teammate pushing him. Conditions are ideal, but anything can happen in these races. Let's see who takes the win home after lap 3. Look at that, it's chaos on the turn, but it looks like the Jaguar is going to take the win. The NSX pushes him to the victory, pushing him in front of both of these black and red fan team cars. The Aventador finishes third, and the Ferrari FXX finishes fourth. That's another win for the Jaguar XJ220, and Team UK is looking really strong right now. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Lotus Evija starting in P1 with that BMW starting to his outside. In the back, we got the Ferrari 458 and the Dodge Viper ACR. Who's going to take the win after lap 1? Look at that, there's chaos on the turn, but the Ferrari's going to shoot through the middle from the back row and going to take the win. The BMW's going to race to second, the Lotus drops back to third, and that Dodge Viper for Team USA is just getting beat up in the back. He's going to start last going into lap 2. The Ferrari raced all the way up to the front, but can he stay there going into lap 3? Let's see who's going to come out on top. Look at that, the BMW is going to slide on the inside, but the Ferrari's not going to be done with him, but he is. The BMW is actually going to bring it back with a better run on the inside, beating out that Ferrari on the backstretch. The BMW moves up to first for lap 3. The Lotus hangs with him, but still hangs out in third, and that Dodge Viper for Team USA is unfortunately still hanging out in fourth. As we go into lap 3, that BMW is fast, but the Ferrari has been making some moves. Can he make any moves to take a win home for Team Italy? Let's find out. Look at that, the BMW is going to have a great run, but he's going to wreck on the backstretch. It is going to be the Ferrari 458 clutching a win, showing up when it matters, and he's going to score some valuable points for Team Italy. The BMW finishes second, and then surprisingly, the Dodge Viper finally makes up a spot on the last lap, beating out Team UK's Lotus Evija. This is a huge swing in points for all of these teams and all of these cars, and things are only going to get more intense. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Acura NSX starting first. Bone Shaker second, the Ferrari FXX third, and the Nissan starting fourth. 2 JDM cars. Can they utilize teamwork to score some points? Let's find out. Look at that, it's a clean race, and both of the JDM cars are going to run away with it. The NSX leads lap 1, with the Skyline finishing second. The Bone Shaker finishes third, and the FXX finishes last, going into lap 2. We've got a teammate battle in the front row going into lap 2. Let's see what happens. Look at that, it's smooth, and both of the JDM cars are going to run away with it again, finishing 1-2 in the same order as last time. The rear running cars are also going to do the same. Bone Shaker keeps third, and the Ferrari FXX keeps fourth. 1 lap to go. No team orders for those front 2 teammates to race cleanly, so it's everyone's game. Who's going to take the win after lap 3 and score those points? Let's find out. Look at that, it's a clean battle, and the NSX is going to wreck in the back of the pack, but it doesn't matter. His teammate for Team JDM, the Skyline, is going to take the win today, and then it looks like the NSX is going to hold on to his second place spot, scoring some really valuable points for Team JDM, and that FXX moves up to third with the Hot Wheels Bone Shaker finishing fourth. Some close battles there at the very end, but a very good race for Team JDM. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Team Italy Lamborghini Reventon starting up front with the Aventador to his outside, with the Porsche 911 and Dior 2 in the back looking to make something happen. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, the Aventador is going to spin around the corner and lose a lot of position, and the Dior 2 is going to roll all the way to the lead. From the back, he's like, don't mind if I do. He takes the inside and moves up to the front. Reventon second, Porsche third, and that Aventador drops back to fourth. All of these cars are jostling for position. Who's going to come out on top before lap 3? Look at that, it's a clean battle between all of these cars. It looks like the Aventador is going to make a pass on the Reventon there on the backstretch, moving up to third, and the Diora 2 is going to hold on to his lead, finishing in front of the Porsche, who moves up to second with 1 lap to go. With 1 more lap to go, Diora 2 for Team Hot Wheels is holding its lead strong, but that Porsche is now on the outside. Will the Lamborghinis make anything happen from the back? Let's find out. Look at that, a huge push from the Reventon is going to propel the Porsche up, but it doesn't matter. Look at the Reventon go from the back of the pack and backwards. The Reventon's going to roll right and past all of the competition and take the win for Team Italy. What a move for the Lamborghini. The Diora tries to hold on, but ends up coming home P2. The Porsche with a big shove isn't able to make anything happen, finishes third, and the black Lamborghini Aventador, unfortunately, finishes fourth. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have Team 3 at the front with the Sesto and the Devo leading the 2 cars in the back, the Tesla Model 3 and the Jaguar, looking to make something happen after lap 1. Look at that, the Sesto gets in front of the Devo. The Devo's actually going to shove the Sesto out of the way on the backstretch. No team orders there. The Devo moves up to the front, and so does the Jaguar, one of the faster cars we've seen so far. Moves up to second, Sesto moves down to third, Tesla moves back to fourth. Team 3's lined up on that inside, but the Jag is now on the front row. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Look at that, it's close, but the Jag's going to spin around, and it's going to be the Tesla sneaking by from last to first, going into the last lap. Team 3 is going to fall all the way to the back row. The Jag stays the same, and that Tesla's looking for a win. It's the last lap of this Diecast Grand Prix, and it looks like anything can happen. That gold Sesto hasn't lost a race yet. Can he bring it back from the back? Let's find out. Look at that, it's a huge wreck. The Tesla's gonna spin around in the back. The Sesto's gonna try his hardest but not make it. Finishes second to the Jag for Team UK, who is going to be taking the win. And again, that Tesla got airborne coming out of the turn. He's going to wreck, and he's going to prevent the Devo for Team 3 from scoring any points. The Devo, looking so promising at the very beginning, is not going to finish very well. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have some real heavy hitters. The Jag XJ220 starts up front with the Aventador to his outside. Then we got that Sesto Elemento and FXX in the back, looking to make something happen. Look at that, a really fast run from all of these cars. All of the cars go and reach turn 2. It's going to be the Jag taking the win with the Sesto right behind him in second. The Aventador falls back to third, and the FXX stays in fourth as we go into lap 2. As we enter lap 2, the Jag is still up in the front, but now that Sesto's up there to contest him. What's going to happen before we go into lap 3? A huge push from the Aventador on the Jag is going to be great for the Jag as he rolls all the way down to the start-finish line again. Sesto holds on to a second place position, but this time it's going to be the FXX moving up to third in front of his teammate, the Lamborghini Aventador. 1 more lap to go, and the Jag looks unbeatable. As we go into lap 3, that Jag is still dominating on the inside lane, but the Sesto's out there with the Lamborghini behind him. What's going to happen, and who's going to take the win? Look, it's the Sesto sneaking around the outside this time. It's going to be the gold Sesto for Team 3 taking the win, beating out the ever so dominant Jaguar XJ220. The Lamborghini Aventador can't make anything happen, moves up to third, and his teammate, the Ferrari FXX, unfortunately finishes in fourth place again. Unfortunate. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have Team USA hogging up the front row with Diora 2 and the Bugatti Diva behind. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Take a look at that. It's going to be a very clean race, all streamlined, but look at that chaos at the end. It's the Viper who's going to take the lead from his teammate going into lap 2, and then the Devo's going to get into the rear of Diora, causing them both to wreck at the end of the straightaway. We've got 2 more laps to go. As we go into lap 2, Team USA switches lanes at the front. What's going to happen? Look at that, it's all chaos at the very back, but look at the Devo go! On the inside, he's going to race from fourth to first and take the lead going into lap 3. The Viper holds on to second. The Tesla moves back to third, and Diora is going to be starting fourth as we got 1 more lap to go. With 1 more lap to go, the Devo went from fourth to first. Can he hold on to it, or can USA retaliate? Let's find out. Look at that, it's close around the corner, but the Viper is going to wreck in front of the pack. That's going to give the win to the Devo for Team 3, getting his first win and scoring some crucial points. The Viper is going to back up into the wall in front of his teammate and in front of Diora 2. This is where they finish after lap 3, and that is not good for Team Hot Wheels as they struggle to score a lot of points. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Bone Shaker starting first, the Nissan starting second, the Ferrari 458 starting third, and that Porsche 911 starting fourth. It's anyone's race. Who's going to take it? Look at that after lap 1, the Nissan with a very nice run is going to hold his lead in front of the 458. Then it's going to be the Bone Shaker. Then it's going to be the 911 going into lap number 2. The 458 moves up to the front after lap 2. Let's see what happens. Look at that, the Ferrari 458 gets the lead, but it's going to be the Porsche battling him out. No, it's going to be the Ferrari backwards. Both of these cars with an insane drag on the backstretch, but the Ferrari's going to take the lead going into the last lap with the Porsche moving up to second. The Nissan falls back to third and Bone Shaker falls back to fourth. 1 lap to go and it's Ferrari versus Porsche on the front row. Let's see who's going to take home the win after lap 3. A slow start for the Porsche is going to cause chaos on the turn. It's going to be the Ferrari 458 holding his position and taking another win for Team Italy. It looks like the Nissan for Team JDM is going to move back up to second, and the Porsche, unfortunately, with a bad run, is going to cost him as he drops back down to third. Team Hot Wheels with Bone Shaker finishes fourth. Again, not a very good performance from Hot Wheels again, but Team Italy scores some very valuable points with the Ferrari 458. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Lotus Evija starting up front with that Acura NSX in second. Lamborghini Reventon pulls up third, and the BMW M2 pulls out fourth. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, it's chaos. The NSX is going to wreck on the backstretch, and the BMW M2, oh, look at that, but the NSX at the last second gets his position back on the M2. The NSX causes a big wreck in the back, but he's still able to pull out second. The Evija runs away with first as we go into lap 2. As we go into lap 2, the Lotus holds on to his lead, and the NSX, by the bare edge of his teeth, manages to hold on to second. The BMW's up to third, and the Reventon's in fourth. Look at that, it's a big wreck. The M2 is going to capitalize. The M2 races all the way to the lead. The NSX holds on to his second place. The Evija drops back down to third, and the Reventon honestly holds on to fourth. Very unfortunate. We got 1 more lap to go with all of these cars. Who's going to come out on top? We've got 4 teams all battling really hard for every point they can get. Entering a car in the last lap gauntlet. Who's going to come out on top? Oh, and it's a wreck out of turn 1. It's going to be the BMW who capitalizes. The M2 is going to take the win for Team EU, and the Team UK Lotus Evija is going to move up to second on the last lap. The NSX unfortunately wipes out, finishes third, and does beat the Lamborghini Reventon for Team Italy, finishing in last place. The season's coming to the halfway point. Which car is going to come out on top? For the next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Ferrari FXX for the fan team starting up front. Dior 2 on his outside. Then we got the BMW M2 and the Bugatti Divo in the back. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, a huge push from the M2 is going to propel, oh, and a wreck is going to propel the FXX to the lead. He's going to hold on to his lead going into lap 2. The M2 is going to hold on to his second place after getting loose and wrecking in front of the Divo and the Diora. That's the order as we go into the next lap. As we go into lap 2, that M2 is looking to make some waves, but the Divo's now moved up to third behind the FXX. Look at that, the M2 is going to take the lead and also get a little bit loose. He's going to finish the race on the back foot, backwards into turn 2. He's going to lead in lap 3, and the Divo moves up to second. Pretty good move for the Team 3 car. The FXX drops back to third, and the Dior holds on to fourth for Team Hot Wheels. As we move on to the last lap, the M2 is up to the lead with the Divo on his outside. Anything can happen. Who's going to take home the points? Let's find out. An insane run for the M2, but he's going to wipe out on the backstretch. That's going to give the win to the Divo with an unbelievable performance, going all the way from the back, whittling his way up the field and taking the win. And take a look at that. Diora 2 is also going to score some points, finishing second, just barely beating out that M2. Unfortunate, the M2 was fast, but just couldn't keep it straight on the straightaways. Also, the fan team FXX finishes last. From first to the last, that's disappointing. I can see him losing his seat in the future. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Lotus Evija starting up front again with the Bone Shakers who is outside. Then we got that Nissan Skyline and Jaguar XJ220 in the back. Who's going to take it after lap 1? Look at that, it's chaos. The Bone Shaker is going to wreck in front of the field, and it's going to be the Evija able to run away with it. Starting first has its advantages, and the Evija is clearly showing it. Bone Shaker holds on to second place, and the Jag moves up to third, passing the Nissan with 2 laps to go. Team UK is lined up on that inside. Let's see what they can make happen on lap 2. Look at that, Team UK with an absolutely insane run, but the Jag is going to falter. He does manage to hold on to his third place spot at the very end, so he'll be lining up right behind his teammate again for the last lap. But man, that Jaguar had a bad wreck. Bone Shaker holds on to second, and the Avia leads lap 2. One more lap to go. Team UK's lined up on that inside again. Can the Jaguar hold on to it? It's anyone's race. Let's see what happens. Look at that, and it's going to be Team UK. Oh, and there's a wreck at the very end. The Lotus Avia is going to get loose and give the win to his teammate. The Jaguar XJ220 takes those crucial winning points over his teammate, and it's still a 1-2 finish for Team UK. Team Hot Wheels is going to drop all the way to the back. The Bone Shaker was holding on, but not enough. Japan finishes third. What a race. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Acura NSX starting on pole position with the Viper to his outside. Then we got a Ferrari 458 and the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento. Let's see what happens. Look at that, a clean run from all of the cars, but it's going to be the NSX for Team JDM taking the lead, maintaining his position, and going into lap 2 in first. Then we got the Viper, the 458, and the Sesto, so nothing really changed. As we move into lap 2, the positions stay the same. You don't often see that gold Sesto in the back, but let's see if you can do anything about it. Look at that, it's clean going through turn 1, and the cars stay in their same positions again, except the Ferrari's gonna move up to the front, the NSX moves back to second, and the Viper moves back to third. What a move by the Ferrari. Can he hold on with 1 lap to go? 1 lap to go, and Team Italy's 458 is currently in the lead. Can he hold it, or will something happen? Let's find out. Look at that, the NSX is going to squeeze ahead. The Ferrari, though, gets back ahead. He's going to squeeze his position back and just shove that NSX into the wall, taking another win for Team Italy. Absolutely incredible performances from this 458. The Sesto moves up to third, which means the Team USA Viper moves all the way back to fourth. We've only got a couple races left of the first half of the season. Who's going to come out on top? Comment below. It's time for the last Diecast Grand Prix before the mid-season break, and we've got our final teams on the track. We've got the Porsche 911 up front with the Aventador, Reventon, and Tesla Model 3 behind. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, it's going to be a close battle. The Aventador is going to run away with it for the fan team, moving up to the front for lap 2. The Porsche drops back to second, and then the Reventon and Tesla stay in third and fourth as we got 2 more laps to go. As we go into lap 2, the front row is changed, but these cars are still jostling for position. What's the lookout going to look like when we got 1 more lap to go? Look at that, another wreck. The Aventador is going to spin around and all of the competition are going to split him. Unbelievable moves. I've not seen maneuvers like that. It's going to be the Porsche going back to take his lead with 1 lap to go. The Reventon moves to the front row. And then it's going to be the Tesla in third and the Aventador falls back to fourth. Man, they all split the Aventador. Wow, I've never seen that before. With 1 lap to go, the Aventador has gone from first to last. Can he get to first on this last lap to score some points, or will someone else take it? There's only one way to find out. Look at that chaos, but the Tesla's going to give the Porsche a run for his money, but he just does not have the straight line speed. Take a look at that. It's going to be the Porsche 911 taking the win for Team EU, and the Tesla for Team USA is going to race all the way up to second with an incredible run. The Aventador moves up to third, and it's going to be the Lamborghini Reventon for Team Italy falling back to last place, and that is going to do it before the break. Wow, that was some insane racing. All right, it is time to film the second half of the season. Now that the break is over, these teams have had a chance to adjust their rosters and figure out their game plan for the next half of the season, as this second half of the season is going to dish out more playoff points and also set the stage for the playoffs to crown ourselves our drivers champion. Now, there have been some implications with the teams and the team championship, so let's go ahead and talk about the storyline so far, what to look for as these races progress, and just overall updates for the Global Diecast Championship series. So let's go ahead and get started with the second half of the racing. Let's go ahead and start from the top of the grid and go down, shall we? So our points leaders for the constructors, we have Team JDM with that Nissan Skyline GTR and Acura NSX as their 2 cars, with that Nissan as their reserve car. Again, remember, the reserve cars don't really matter unless one of their team cars wreck in the middle of a race, which has only happened once, and that was the Lamborghini Reventon. But sticking on topic with the Team JDM cars, we've got that Nissan who has just been battling super hard throughout the season, and the most consistent finish finishes go to Team JDM, which is why they have earned their spot in the paddock as the first team there. Moving on to the second team, we got Team 3. This is the team I'm personally fielding. The Lamborghini Sesto Elemento has been performing excellently with 4 wins out of 5 races, which is very impressive stats for the Sesto. And then the Devo not scoring as many points as the Sesto, but still holding his own in the races. So a very solid second place team at the moment. In third and fourth, tied in the Constructors Championship, but the tiebreaker goes to Team UK with the best finishes with that Jaguar XJ220, one of the more dominant cars in the races, and the car I thought would have come out on top points-wise at the end of the first half of the season, but the Jaguar still going to be battling hard. The Lotus Sevilla also putting in some solid performances, but the battles we want to look out for are the Team EU cars with the BMW M2 and the Porsche 911. Both of these cars just coming up a little bit short. The M2 has a couple wins, but the Porsche has the record for the most runner-up finishes, so hopefully the Porsche can bring it back and score some points for Team EU, because we know both of those cars are fast. Now going down to the second half of the grid, leading the midfield is Team Italy with the Ferrari 458, while scoring a lot of wins and contending for a title there with the most amount of points out of most individual cars. The 458 needs to be backed up by the Lancia now, who is now taking over the second driver spot from the Lamborghini Reventon. The Reventon really didn't perform at the beginning of the season, so now it comes down to the Lancia to see if he can score some points here as we continue on with the racing. So a good team to keep an eye on to see if that Lancia improves their speed. And then we have a lot of changes for our back markers here. In sixth place in the Constructors, we have Team USA, who have opted to change their 2 first drivers with the Corvette and the Viper. This Corvette looks like it's going to be super quick, so a good one to keep an eye on. And then, of course, that Ford Mach-E still as a reserve. Interesting that Team USA didn't choose the Ford to become one of their main roster cars after resigning the original 2 cars, but that is a storyline to keep an eye on for a later date. In 7th, we have Team Hot Wheels, which is opting to move Bone Shaker to a reserve driver role after it didn't score that many points. Diora did have a win, so it managed to score some decent points for Team Hot Wheels, but Team Hot Wheels opted to sign Circle Tracker as well, so hopefully Team Hot Wheels will find some more success with that new roster. And speaking of new roster, we have a completely new setup here for the record runners. We have the McLaren F1 and the Corvette C8 as their main drivers, with the Honda Civic Type R as their reserve. Record runners really just looking to score any amount of points here. While they did have 1 win with the Aventador, it was not able to get any sort of meaningful positions. As you can see, they are behind the entire grid here. So going to be looking at these record runners to make some moves as the racing begins. But that is a brief overview as to what to look for as these races continue. All of the cars will race 5 times. All of them will start on pole at least once, and the racing is just going to get more and more intense as the playoffs come closer. So as the playoffs stand, we have the Jaguar currently sitting in first, the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento also in second, and then the 458 there in third for playoff points. Followed by the Nissan GTR, the Porsche 911, the Acura NSX, the BMW M2, and then the Bugatti Devo, bringing out the top 8 with playoff points. So these cars are going to be looking to race for a title if they can manage to keep those results high through the second half of the season. So, all right, there's your brief overview. Let's go ahead and get into the racing. We have a lot of racing to go, and we have a lot of fast cars to watch. So let's go ahead and see what happens as the rest of this DGP season unfolds. The only change to the track really is the entrance to the fat track. As you can see, both lanes now lead into the middle of the track, so cars are really going to need to have the optimal line going into turn 1 so that they can exit turn 1 with enough speed to lead the lap. So remember, 3 laps, the car leading at the end of lap 3 will be scoring maximum points, which is very exciting. But we have the cars for the first matchup on the grid, so without further ado, let's get started. The Global Diecast Championship is back. Starting up front for our first race back is the Diora 2 with Team Italy's Lancia on the outside. The Porsche and Circle Tracker bring up the rear, but let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, Circle Tracker gives a bump to the Lancia. The Lancia is not going to have the speed, though, to catch up to the Diora as the Porsche zooms up to second there, as he's going to start second for the second lap, but Diora holds a strong lead as Circle Tracker for Team Hot Wheels drops back to fourth. We know that Porsche is fast, but is it fast enough to pass Diora on the outside? Let's see what happens after lap 2. Look at that, it's going to be a close battle. The Porsche wrecks in front of the field. That's going to give the Lancia second place back. Dior still manages to hold the lead, and Circle Tracker gets caught up behind the Porsche, who wrecks on the backstretch with one more lap to go. That is not looking good for the Porsche if he wants to score some good points. The cars are now lined up for lap 3 the exact same way they were lined up for the first lap. Whoever leads this race will take the first win home for the second half of the season. Will it be Dior, or will someone else capitalize? Let's find out. Look at that, a good push for the Circle Tracker is not going to be enough. It's going to be Dior running away from the competition. The Lancia is going to manage to stay in second. The Porsche is not able to improve, and Circle Tracker brings it home fourth for Team Hot Wheels. A solid start for Team Hot Wheels in the points, as well as Team Italy in that Lancia, but Team EU with the Porsche is going to need to score better points if that Porsche wants to make it to the playoffs. So a lot of implications in this race, but a lot of racing to go. The next Diecast Grand Prix is a fast one. We have the NSX for Team Japan starting on pole, with that new Team USA Viper starting on the outside. Got the Bugatti Divo and Corvette C8 in the back. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Oh, look at that, it's chaos, and look at that, the Bugatti threads the needle between the Viper and the NSX. A very dominant performance for that Team 3 car as he storms to the lead, and the Corvette C8 for record runners is not starting off strong. That beautiful pass from the Devo is going to put him on the front row for lap 2 as the NSX drops to the second row behind him, but that NSX is fast. Can he give the Devo a shove going into lap 3? Well, let's see what happens. Wow, a good push for the Viper, and there's a wreck. The Viper is going to run away with it with a great push for the Corvette, but it's a horrible incident. The Team 3 Devo flips over on his roof as the first wreck of the second half of the season has happened. It's the Corvette C8 in third, and the NSX dropping back to fourth, but this is going to force Team 3 to bring out its reserve car. The Devo wrecked so hard that the track fell apart. We have to repair the track and go into lap 3. That chaotic lap could be huge for record runners as the Corvette starts on the front row to the outside of the Viper, currently starting at the front with that Greenwood Corvette reserve car for Team 3, filling in for the Devo. Let's see what happens after lap 3. Look at that, a huge push for the NSX. It's going to be a battle all the way. It's going to be the NSX barely edging out the Corvette from the back row, racing all the way to the front, squeezing through the middle, and it's going to be Team JDM's Acura NSX proving it when it counts, but that just seems to be a Team Japan staple. And then we've got the Viper falling back to third, and Team 3 with the reserve Corvette finishing fourth. Not a good start to the season for that team. For the next Diecast Grand Prix, we have that Corvette ZR1 for Team USA starting on pole, with the Lamborghini Sesto Elementor starting on the outside. Got the Avia and the F1 in the back. This is going to be a close battle between all of these cars. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Wow, they're so close going through the corners. The Devo's going to spin out. The Corvette for Team USA shows he's got the speed to handle it, and he holds his lead going into lap 2. The F1 races all the way up to turn 2, and both of our most race winners, both of these cars have 4 wins, the Sesto and the Lotus, fall to the back as the Sesto cannot keep it straight. After a chaotic first lap, it's the newcomers, the Corvette and the F1 starting on the front row, and the 4-time race winners in the Sesto and the Lotus starting in the back. It's lap 2 though, so anything can happen. Let's see who takes the win. Look at that, a great push from the Sesto is going to get by the Corvette, and the Lotus tries to look to the inside to make that move happen, but the Corvette's just a little too quick and manages to hold on to his front row position. The Sesto races all the way back up to the lead. Corvette holds on to second, and the F1 does not have the speed to get past all these drivers for record runners as he finishes back and forth, but that Corvette's looking fast. Can he score a first win for Team USA? Let's find out. As we go into lap 3, all of these cars look like they have the speed to take the win. It's the Sesto though sitting in the front with that Corvette on the outside. That Corvette's a new car for Team USA. Can he fight back against our title competitors in the Sesto and the Lotus? Let's find out. Wow, a great start for those inside cars, and it's going to be a wreck in the back. It's going to be the Sesto taking the first win for Team 3 so far in the second half of the season, with the Lotus pulling up a solid second, and it's our newcomers, the Corvette and the F1 for Team USA and Team Record Runners, crashing on the backstretch and losing out on their valuable points. Unfortunate, but the Corvette and F1 showed some really good speed. Unfortunately, they were just up against our most raced winners. Now 5 wins for the Sesto. Incredible stuff. And for the Friday race of week 12 of the Global Diecast Championship. We have all of our heavy hitters in one race. We have the Jaguar XJ220 starting on pole with the BMW M2 on the outside with that Nissan GTR and 458 in the back. All of these cars have 2 wins except for the BMW. Can he change that? Let's find out. Look at that, a close battle and a smooth battle between all these cars, but it's the XJ220 for Team UK holding on to his pole position. The BMW hangs on to second, the Nissan holds on to third, and the Ferrari 458 hangs on to fourth, so no change throughout the field here, but all of these cars are fast. Let's see if any of them can get a run in lap 2. Points in this race matter a lot because all these cars are close, battling with each other in points, but right now it's the Jaguar holding on with pure domination on that first place position. Let's see if he can hold it after lap 2. Look at that, the BMW tries to the outside, but it's not going to work, and look at that move! Unbelievable stuff. The Jaguar goes and throws a block on the Nissan, but it's not going to be enough as the Ferrari races by on the outside from last place all the way to first. What a race. The BMW falls back all the way to fourth as this last lap is going to prove to be chaotic with the Ferrari and Jaguar on the front row. The point implications in this race are crazy. The 458 sitting on pole, and a win like this would give Team Italy a ton of points, but we've got the Jaguar XJ220 on that outside, the BMW pushing him. These two cars are going to be really close in points, so whoever finishes out on top here is going to score massive points against the other team. But it all comes down to this last turn. Who is going to come out on top? Let's find out. Look at that, it's a close one, but it's going to be the Jaguar XJ220 not leaving anything behind. The Jaguar races to the win from the outside, passing the Ferrari 458, who still comes home in a solid second place. The BMW not able to make anything happen behind the Jaguar, finishes third, and we have a wreck here at the very last lap. Team JDM's Nissan is going to wreck, and because he wrecked on the final lap, he is not going to score any points, which is actually huge for the playoff implications for Team JDM as they need all the points they can get. That is a very, very bad wreck for our team points leaders, but a very good race for some of the other teams. Man, that was chaotic. For our next race in the Global Diecast Championship, we have the Lancia starting on pole with that USA Dodge Viper on his outside, and then we have multi-race winner Jaguar XJ220 behind the Lancia, and the F1 GTR for record runners also there. Let's see if any of these cars can score their first win and value points for their team on lap 1. Look at that, a huge push from the Jaguar is going to propel the Lancia around the corner and spin everyone out, and it's only the F1 GTR who gets out of this pileup. He's going to start in the first row after the first lap. Now as we go into lap 2, it's the F1 GTR starting on the front row with that Jag behind him, but can the Lancia and Viper do anything on the outside? Let's see what happens after lap 2. Look at that, it's not a very good push by the Viper on the Lancia, but the Viper is going to manage to get himself in front of the Jaguar going into lap 3. The F1 GTR brings it all the way around turn 2 to hold on to his lead going into lap 3, and it's the Lancia dropping all the way back to 4th for that lap. Not looking good for the Team Italy car, but we got one more lap to go. Let's see who takes it. As we go into last lap, the front row of cars have never scored a win yet in this series. We know that Jaguar is a very good pusher, so let's see if the F1's able to hold on into lap 3, if someone else is going to steal it. Let's see what happens. Look at that, a huge push for the Jaguar, but it's going to be the Viper in a drag race against the F1. The F1 unfortunately hangs on to the outside, and it's going to be the Viper for Team USA, taking Team USA's first win so far with their new lineup as the Viper becomes a race winner. The Jaguar also manages to squeeze out a second place for Team UK, so really solid points there. Unfortunate for the record runners, the F1 isn't able to score maximum points, and the Lancia, once falling to the back of the pack, isn't able to keep up with the competition, so not very good points for Team Italy. Not looking good for their team standings, but really good for Team USA to get some points on the board for their new roster. Something is obviously working. This next Diecast Grand Prix for the Global Diecast Championship is going to be a big one, as we've got both of the Team EU cars blocking out the front row to start with the Porsche on pole and the M2 onto his outside with Team USA's Corvette and Team JDM's Acura NSX in the back. This is going to be a good one. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, it's going to be the Team UK, or Team EU cars, holding on to their first, second positions. It's going to be the Corvette rolling back into third, and the NSX stays fourth, so positions stay the same as we got the Team EU cars working together to score some points. This 911 for Team EU, despite being one of the fastest cars, still has not recorded a win so far this season, but he's still got the pole position going into lap 2. Let's see if he can hold it against his competitors. Look at that, another clean run by all of the cars. This time the 911 gets away cleanly as he holds on to his lead going into lap 3. The BMW also holds on to the second position, so the front row is still locked out by Team EU. Can the Team USA Corvette or Team JDM NSX do anything about it? They better, because Team JDM's not looking really good sitting in the back here. As we go into lap 3, the Porsche still holding on to that first place position, and he hasn't won a race yet so far this season, so that would be huge points for Team EU, but we know that Corvette's fast from Team USA and looking to score a win. So let's see who takes it after lap 3. Look at that, it's going to be chaotic. But the Corvette is going to sneak by the BMW at the last second. Really good move by that Team USA car. And finally, the Porsche 911 is going to get his first win for Team EU, scoring some really good points. And it's not a good finish for Team JDM as he finishes 4th on the track, which is not good at all, scoring minimal points, but a really good day for that Team USA Corvette and the Team EU duo as the Porsche leads all 3 laps and takes the win. What a race. For our next matchup of the Global Diecast Championship, we have the Lotus Evija for Team UK starting on pole with that Hot Wheels circle tracker starting on the outside with the Corvette C8 and Bugatti Diva behind. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Oh, a bad start for the Devo's not going to be good, but it's going to be Circle Tracker making it around. Look at that, they're battling all the way down the straight. Look at the Devo roll. It's going to be the Circle Tracker starting on pole for the second lap. The Evija holds on to second place, and the Devo just barely rolls ahead of the Corvette, who is blocked by that Evija, who gets into third, and the Corvette, for record runners, falls back to 4th. The orders are the same, but the cars just switch lanes. Now Circle Tracker starting on pole on the inside with that Lotus on his outside. Lap 2, will anyone make any good moves? Let's find out. Look at that, it's a really close one. The Lotus gets a little squirrely out of turn 1, but still manages to hold on to the lead, passing Circle Tracker on the backstretch. Circle Tracker was on to 2nd, Corvette moves up to 3rd, and the Devo is going to fall back to 4th. All these cars now jostling for position, but with 1 lap to go, it's anyone's race, but the Lotus comes out on top and will start on the front. The order is back to now how they started going into lap 3. The Lotus holds the lead with Circle Tracker on the outside. Will the Corvette or Devo make any moves happen? 1 more lap to go, let's see who takes it. Look at that, a good push is not going to be enough, but it's going to be the Lotus ringing it all the way around to take the win for Team UK. Record Runners is going to pull up a solid 2nd with that Corvette, and Circle Tracker for Hot Wheels unfortunately gets into the Devo on the last lap, both of them getting stopped on the backstretch, which is not going to be good for points, but a very solid day for the Team UK Lotus as he brings home the win, beating out the Record Runners Corvette, who finishes his best finish so far, 2nd place, which for a team in last place, not bad at all. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have a race full of heavy hitters. The 458 for Team Italy starts on pole with that Team 3 Sesto on the outside with the Team JDM Nissan and the Team Hot Wheels Diora in the back. Can the Sesto make it 6 wins for the season, or can the 458 come out and dominate? Let's find out what happens after lap 1. Look at that, a huge push from Dior is going to push the Sesto all the way to the lead. He races to the front easily. The 458 manages to stay on the front row, but manages to lose out to the Sesto, and it's the Nissan and Dior tangling up on the back stretch as we go into lap 2. The only change of position of the first 2 cars, now the Sesto's in the front, and the Ferrari's to his outside with the Nissan and Dior in the back. Let's see what happens for lap 2. Look at that, the Sesto gets another big push. This time the Ferrari's a little bit closer to him, but he's not able to make the pass stick. The Sesto just has the speed to hold the lead as he manages to hold it into lap 3. The Ferrari's going to hold on to 2nd. This time Dior is actually going to make a move up to 3rd with the Nissan falling back to 4th as we got 1 more lap to go. As we go into lap 3, that Sesto looks unbeatable. Can he get his 6th win of the season, or can the Ferrari 458 retaliate on that outside? We know the Dior and the Nissan also need to get a win for those teams, but anything can happen in this last lap. Let's see what happens. Look at that, the Sesto has a good run. Can the Ferrari catch up? It doesn't look like it. Both of the cars race to the start-finish line, but the Sesto, starting on pole, just has so much speed, no one can do anything about it. The Nissan races up to 3rd and passes Dior, which is going to be some decent points for Team JDM, but not the result they were looking for, and also some solid points for the 458 as he manages to finish 1-2 for the last few races in the season, which is really good for that team because the Lancia, let's be honest, is not scoring a lot of points. So really good run for the Team 3 Sesto as he takes the win in this one, but there are still a lot of races to go. Who is going to finish on top with points? There's only one way to find out. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have some heavy hitters on the front row. The Jaguar XJ 220 starting on pole with the Porsche 911 after securing his first win, starting on his outside. We got the USA Corvette looking for his first win, and the Hot Wheels Dior just looking to score some points. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Oh, look at that. The Corvette makes a move on the Jaguar. Jaguar looks to the inside, but the Corvette's going to block him off. And Team USA with a dominant power move, moving all the way up to the lead, passing one of the most dominant cars in the league, the XJ220. Corvette starts on the front row, and the Diora also is going to move up a spot as the Porsche goes from second to fourth after spinning out around turn one. Unfortunate for the Porsche, but there's still 2 laps to go for him to score some good points. Team USA is probably pretty happy with that Corvette's move. Now he's starting on the front with the Jaguar on his outside. But we got 2 more laps to go. Let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. This time the Jaguar strikes back and the Corvette's going to spin out. And look at that. The Diora 2 is also going to make a move on the Porsche, who is not having any of that. And it's the Jaguar and Diora 2 moving up to the front row for this last lap. The Corvette gets spun out into turn 1. That is not good for this Team USA car. He needs to score some points fast. And the Porsche now also on the back foot, starting in the back. Does anyone have anything for this Jaguar? As we go into lap 3, Team USA is on a roller coaster of emotions now, starting in fourth behind the Diora. He's got to get around the Jaguar with that Porsche pushing him, so that inside line is going to be fast. But it's anyone's race on this last lap. Let's see who takes it with the most points at the end of the lap. Look at that. The Corvette, does he have anything for the Jaguar? He's there. He's not going to get around turn 2 well, and he's going to finish second behind the Jaguar. Man, what a comeback for the Corvette. He almost had it, but the Jaguar just has the speed as he takes the win for Team UK. It's going to be the Diora holding on to third, and the Porsche, unfortunately for Team EU, is going to fall back to fourth. Solid points there for the midfield runners, but the Corvette, so close to getting his first win for Team USA, is just coming up short. The Team UK Jaguar. This car's dominant, and I bet we'll see him racing for a championship. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have Team Italy's Lancia Strato starting on the pole with Team JDM's Acura NSX on that outside. We got the Bugatti Divo and Circle Tracker behind. All of these cars looking for a win. Let's see who's going to take it after lap 1. Look at that, and it's going to be a great run for the NSX as he runs away with it, and the Divo is going to manage to weasel his way up to the front row, passing Circle Tracker and the Lancia as the Lancia drops from first to third, and the NSX runs away with it as he takes the lead for Team JDM, which they desperately need. As we start lap 2, it's the NSX still on pole, and then we've got the Divo now to his outside. The Lancia drops back to third, Circle Tracker's fourth. Lap 2, let's see who's going to lead as we go into lap 3. Oh, look at that. The NSX gets sideways, and now he's bumping with the Divo. The Divo is going to manage to get to his side, but the NSX is going to crash him into the wall. What a drag from those 2 top runners. And look at that. It's going to be the Lancia also crashing with Circle Tracker in that number 3 stock car. So it looks like the positions are staying the same, but all of these cars battling for position hard. Which one of these cars is going to come out on top? 1 lap to go. And here we go as we go into lap 3. Team JDM's looking to get their first win in a while with that NSX, but the Divo for Team 3 is battling hard on that outside. Can Circle Tracker or the Lancia make anything happen? They've got 1 lap to do it. Let's see what happens. Look at that. It's going to be close, but not really, because the Divo tries to bring it back on turn 2, but it's the NSX who cuts him off and is going to go straight off of turn 2 to take the win, beating out the Divo. He tried his best, but it's going to be Team JDM holding on to that win, and it's going to be the Lancia holding on to position 3 as well, beating out Circle Tracker for Team Hot Wheels, who has not been performing to Hot Wheels' standards, which is unfortunate for that team. But the Lancia finishes third, the Divo solid points in second, and it's the NSX taking the win for Team JDM. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have some front runners here at the front. We got the Nissan GTR for Team JDM and the Lotus Evija for Team UK on the front row, with the record runners and Team USA cars on the back row looking to get a win. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Oh, look at that. The Nissan's going to get loose coming around the corner, which is going to allow the Evija to race all the way to the lead. He manages to hold on to second, but the F1 trying to battle through, holds on to third, and the Viper's going to fall back to fourth as he's going to lap 2. The Lotus is looking to get his 6th win on the season, tying the Sesto, and right now he's sitting on the front row with that Nissan on the outside. 2 more laps to go. Let's see what happens after lap 2. Look at that, a huge push from the Viper is going to propel the Nissan around, but they're all going to wreck. It's going to be the F1 taking the lead going into lap 3 for the record runners. Huge move for that team as the Lotus spins out in front of the field. He manages to hold on to the front row, but the Nissan's going to fall to the back row for Team JDM, and the Viper for Team USA just not able to do anything. 1 more lap to go, and the front runners are falling behind. Can the record runners steal one? With 1 more lap to go, the record runners are in prime position to get their first win with their new roster, the F1 on the pole, but we got got that Lotus trying to get his 6th win on the outside. Can the Nissan push the F1 to the win? Let's find out. A good push for the Nissan is going to allow the F1 to run away with it, and the record runners are going to get their first win with the F1. Solid points for that team, and the Viper for Team USA is also going to make some huge progress going into turn 2 in second, passing the Lotus, who finishes third, and then the Nissan for Team JDM is going to finish fourth. That is not the finish Team JDM needed, as they are getting worse and worse as the season goes on. What is happening to this team? But a huge comeback for the F1 as the record runners get some huge points along with Team USA. That Viper has been performing really well, and unfortunately the Lotus can't tie the Sesto's wins for this season so far, but it's going to get close at the top. Huge race for points for all these drivers. For the next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the record runners Corvette C8 leading this packed field to the turn 1 on lap 1, with the BMW M2 starting to his outside, Ferrari 458 and Sesto Elemento behind. Both cars super fast. The Corvette has a lot of defending to do. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, the Sesto charges through on the inside, but the Corvette is going to throw a huge block. Sesto moves from 4th to 2nd on lap 1. Ferrari moves up to 3rd, and the BMW falls all the way to the back, but the Corvette C8 with a huge block is going to manage to hold his lead as they go into lap 2. This second lap is going to be a chaotic one, because in lane 1 we have Coughing Baby, and in lane 2 we have Atomic Bomb. The Sesto looking to take the lead away from the record runner's Corvette. The Corvette has to do everything in its power to hold the lead, but what's going to happen on lap 2? Let's find out. Look at that, a huge run from the Sesto. And look at that, the Ferrari also tries to make a move on the Corvette, but the Corvette's going to block him off. The Sesto races to the lead, easily passing the Corvette, and it's going to be the Ferrari now pushing the Sesto into lap 3. The BMW can't make anything happen, and now the Corvette is hanging loose on the outside. What is he going to be able to do with one more lap to go? We have you on the outside versus the guy she tells you not to worry about on the inside. That Sesto now has the 458 pushing him going into lap 3. Can the Corvette hold on and hope for misfortune from this Sesto? One more lap to go. Let's see who takes it. Oh, look at that. The Corvette tries. He spins the Sesto around. Huge move from the Corvette. That's going to give the Ferrari 458 the win, beating out the Sesto. And I have to go back to replay. I think the Corvette also snuck second place away from that Sesto. That was absolutely chaotic. The BMW not scoring any valuable points for that team, but the 458 is going to come out victorious in this crazy race. The Corvette putting all he had into turning that Sesto around, and wow, take a look at that result. And after further review of the race, second place is gonna go to the Sesto Elemento, barely rolling farther on the track than the Corvette. Now this is a sketchy call from the officials. How will this affect the record runners and their points, and how will this affect the Sesto Elemento? A very controversial call here, but a very controversial race as well. So something to keep an eye on. These two cars definitely have a rivalry brewing. For the next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Porsche 911 for Team EU starting on pole, with Team Hot Wheels Circle Tracker on the outside. We got the Ferrari 458 and Dodge Viper in the back. It's lap 1 and anything can happen. Let's see who wins it. Look at that, a good push from the Ferrari is going to propel him all the way to the lead. He gets around the Porsche, who spins out around turn 1. The Viper races up to 3rd, and Circle Tracker for Team Hot Wheels falls all the way back to 4th. And look at that dominance for the 458, taking the win of the lap, easily beating out the competition. That 458 is showing some dominant speed for Team Italy, but we know that Porsche on the outside is also fast, and don't count out that Viper. He has one win to his name and is pushing the 458 into lap 2. Let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. The Ferrari 458 is going to get loose, but he's going to manage to hold the entire competition behind him. Take a look at that. The Viper rolls back a little bit, but he's still going to hold on to 3rd place. The Porsche holds on to 2nd, and Circle Tracker unable to improve his position, but a smart move for the Ferrari, keeping them all behind. He's going to lead them all to the flag as they take the last lap. That Ferrari 458 looks absolutely dominant, but when he got loose last race, it showed all these other competitors that anyone can win this. The Viper's in it, the Porsche's in it, even Circle Tracker's in it. Who's going to lead the last lap to win the race? Let's find out. Oh, look at that. The Ferrari is going to wreck in front of the field. The Porsche tries to get by, but wow, supreme car placement for the Ferrari to place it in the middle of the track so the competition can't get by. Porsche finishes second. The Viper finishes third, and Team Hot Wheels with the Circle Tracker finishes fourth. Not a good result for that team at all, but a really good win for the 458 as he just keeps racking up these first and second place finishes. He's single-handedly carrying Team Italy and showing he has the speed to become the driver's champion, but there's only one way to find out. Stay tuned. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have Team Hot Wheels starting on pole with the Dior 2 and Team Italy's Lancia Stratos to his outside. Then we got the Jaguar XJ220 and the Corvette C8 in the back looking to prove his speed. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, a huge push from the Jag is going to shove Dior all the way to the checkered, and it's going to be the Jaguar finishing second, starting on the front row for the second lap. The Corvette moves up to third as the Lancia falls from the front row to the back row for Team Italy, but we got 2 more laps to go. As we go into lap 2, the Dior is still holding the pole position, but now the Jaguar is on the outside, and we know he's fast, and he's coming. Let's see what happens after lap 2. Oh, take a look at that. The Jaguar is just going to absolutely run away with it. Going into lap 3, he's going to be leading the field. And it looks like the Lancia for Team Italy is also going to work his way up to the front row, starting second for the last lap. And the Diora for Team Hot Wheels is going to wreck in front of that Corvette C8 for the record runners. Man, that Corvette is just not having a good go at it as of recently, but there's one more lap to go. Let's see if anyone can make anything happen. Well, there you have it. Going into lap 3, it's the Jag starting on pole with Dior behind him. And then that Italian Lancia on the outside with the Corvette pushing him. Man, that outside really needs points, and the inside is looking absolutely dominant. Let's see who wins it after lap 3. Oh, look at that, the Lancia with a good move. He tries to get to the outside of the Jag, but the Jag is going to push him into the wall, almost shoving him off the track. Wow, the Jag was not having any of that, but still a decent finish for the Team Italy Lancia as he finishes second. It's going to be the Dior managing to hold on to third, and the record runner's Corvette unfortunately comes home last. What a run. It looked like the Lancia had the speed to beat the Jaguar, but the Jaguar said no and shoved him absolutely into the wall. Dirty racing, perhaps a rivalry brewing? You tell me, but at least Italy is bringing back the points with Ferrari winning all of those last couple races, and now the Lancia finishing second. It looks like Team Italy is back on the front foot. For our next matchup of the Global Diecast Championship, we have Team EU starting on pole with that BMW M2, and the Team JDM Nissan Skyline starting to his outside. We got the Bugatti Divo and McLaren F1 in the back, trying to make something happen. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, it's going to be close. The BMW spins in front of the field, but it's going to be the F1 GTR and the Divo getting past. The F1 coming off a win is going to start on the front for lap 2 with the Divo 2 is outside, and the BMW is going to spin out in front of that Nissan. Team JDM now falling to the back early. As we go into lap 2, the cars in the back are now in the front, and the cars that were in front are now in the back. We got the F1 leading them. Lap 2, let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. It's pretty clean. The F1, though, is going to spin out in front of the entire field, causing no one to get past him. The F1 is going to lead the field down to the checkered flag for lap 3. The Divo manages to hold on to second, and then the Nissan moves up one position to third, passing the BMW as we got one more lap to go. It's the last lap, and anyone can take it. The F1 currently sitting in the lead with 1 win to his name, and the Divo, to his outside, has 0 wins to his name. Can he take a win home for Team 3, or can one of the cars in the back make something happen? It's going to be hard to say. Let's find out and see what happens. Looks like a bad start from the Divo is going to allow record runners to run away with it. The F1 takes the win, taking the win for that team who needs all the points they can get. And take a look at that improvement for Team JDM as the Nissan moves up to second. The Divo falls down to third, and the BMW for Team EU falls back to fourth. Not the finish they were looking for, but a really good finish for the record runners who have just not been having the best of luck recently. So the F1 holding that lead, taking a move right out of Italy's playbook by wrecking the field and leading them to the checkered. Paid off because now he has a win. Also huge for these teams. And we've got only a couple more races to go before the playoffs. The points are really getting close. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have some super fast cars in this one. We have the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento, our points leader for the Drivers' Championship, starting on pole with the Lotus Evija to his outside. The Acura NSX and Corvette for Team JDM and Team USA in the back. Well, 3 laps to decide the winner. Let's see who takes lap 1. Look at that, the Sesso's gonna run away with it, and it's a battle in the midfield. Take a look at that, the Corvette tries to make a move around the Lotus, but he's not quite gonna get there. NSX falls back to fourth, and the Sesso just absolutely runs away with it as he leads the cars going into lap 2. As we go into lap 2, the front two stay the same, but now the Corvette is pushing the Sesto. Can he make a move on him going into lap 3? Let's find out. Let's see here, the Sesto gets a little bit loose. The Corvette now on his outside. He's not quite gonna get there. Take a look at that, a really close battle between all these cars. The Sesso's gonna manage to hold on to the lead. The Corvette moves up to second. The Lotus falls back to third. And the NSX, while he's still in the picture, is not able to make any moves and stays in fourth. So one more lap to go. The Sesso holding him off, but not by much. That Corvette is charging through the field. Can he make one more move? We got one more lap to go. It's the Sesto on the inside versus Team USA's Corvette on the outside. The Sesto is a multi-time race winner. The Corvette has won 0 races. It all comes down to this last lap. Who's going to score the most points? Let's find out. Oh, it's a wreck, and look at that, it's going to be the Lotus out of nowhere. It's going to sneak the victory away from the Sesto Elemento, who gets a little loose coming out of that turn 1. The NSX isn't able to make anything happen, and the Corvette, unfortunately, gets caught up in that incident in turn 1. But look at that, the Lotus bringing it back when it counts. Team UK looking super strong right now as the Lotus takes another win and now ties the win total for the Sesto Elemento. The Sesto has now come out up short for the last 2 races. What is happening in that Team 3 garage? It is hard to say, but again, a really good pass for the Lotus as he scores very valuable points and ties the Sesto in power. For our next matchup of the Diecast Grand Prix, we have Team Hot Wheels taking up the front row. We've got Circle Tracker on the inside and Dior 2 on the outside, and right behind him we got the Lancia for Team Italy and that golden Sesto Elemento for Team 3. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Oh, look at that. Team Hot Wheels is going to wreck, but look at the Sesto. He's looking on the inside of the Diora. He's not going to get there. Diora 2 still manages to take the lead going into lap 2. Sesto moves up to second. Circle Tracker moves down to third, and it's going to be the Lancia moving down to fourth for Team Italy. We got 2 more laps to go. As we go into lap 2, the Sesto now holding strong on that outside lane, and we got the Team Hot Wheels duo on the inside. Can they have anything to combat against this Sesto? Let's see what happens for lap 2. Oh, look at that. It's going to be a wreck. The Dior tries to get to the inside of the Sesto, but it's not going to get there. Sesto races all the way to the lead. A Circle Tracker moves up to second. Dior falls back to third, and the Lancia stays in fourth. I don't know. It looks like these cars just don't have the speed to race cleanly against the Sesto, but maybe they'll pull a dirty move. There's only one way to find out. Let's go to the last lap. All right, going into the last lap, we got the Sesto leading the field. Circle Tracker on the outside. Dior has a chance to make an undercut on turn 1 if the Sesto has good speed, but it's all going to come down to who has the best exit out of this corner. Last lap, who's scoring the most points? And it looks like the Sesto's going to get away cleanly. The Dior manages to make a clean move, slot himself into second, but it's not going to be enough. The Sesto just has way more speed than the competitors, and it's going to be the Dior 2 finishing second, the Lancia moving up to third, and Circle Tracker from second to fourth in 1 lap. Another last place for this Team Hot Wheels car. Man, Team Hot Wheels was starting 1-2 for this race, but loses it on the last lap. Unfortunate stuff. Not looking good for that team, but looking good for the Sesto as he now takes the lead again over the Lotus for the most wins in the season. It's getting really close. For our next Diecast Grand Prix, we have the Team 3 Bugatti Divo starting on pole with that Team UK Jaguar XJ220 to his outside. Got the Corvette C8 and Acura NSX behind, looking to have a good race. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, the XJ220 gets a good run out of turn 2, but he's gonna lose it and spin out on the backstretch, finishing second, allowing the NSX to go from 4th to 1st on lap 1. That's really needed for this team as the Divo falls all the way back to 4th and the record runners barely edge him out to 3rd. We got 2 more laps to go. As we go into lap 2, the Acura NSX is leading, but the Jag is still on that outside. Corvette pushing the NSX and Bugatti Divo behind the Jaguar. Let's see what happens after lap 2. Look at that, no shove from the Divo whatsoever, but it doesn't matter. The Jaguar is going to take the lead going into lap 3, and the Corvette is also going to have a front row spot there, finishing second. And look at that, the NSX started in the front, but got spun out. He's now in last behind the Bugatti Divo, who moves up to 3rd. A lot of jostling for position, but we got 1 more lap to go. It's the last lap of this Diecast Grand Prix, and it's the Jaguar XJ220 holding a solid lead. The Corvette C8, though, looking to his outside, trying to get a win for record runners, and of course, that Divo is going to be pushing the Jaguar. Can he make a move happen? Last lap. What's going to happen? Let's find out. No, it looks like the C8's going to wreck in front of the field. The Jaguar's going to run away with it easily. And it's the NSX going from 4th to 2nd again. Man, the NSX was jostling for position that whole time, but manages to secure a 2nd place finish, which will be good for Team Japan's points. But unfortunate for the record runners and Team 3, they are not going to be scoring a lot of points here in 3rd and 4th. And the Jaguar is just going to keep running away with it. Win after win after win. This Jaguar looks unbeatable going into the playoffs. Well, we have a few more races before that happens, and points are getting close. We are now on the last week of regular season racing for the Global Diecast Championship before the playoffs, and starting on pole today is the Team USA Dodge Viper with the Team EU Porsche 911 to his outside. The BMW on the same team is behind the Viper, and the circle tracker for Team Hot Wheels starts last. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, it's a little chaotic, but look at the move. The Porsche is going to slice and dice down the backstretch and take the lead going into lap 2. The Viper manages to hold on a second for Team USA. Circle Tracker even moves up a spot, and we have a wreck for Team EU. It is the BMW M2 flipping on his roof, which means Team EU needs to bring out their reserve car. So let's go ahead and go into lap 2. As we go into lap 2, the Porsche 911 now takes the lead with the Viper on his outside, Circle Tracker in 3rd, and we got that yellow Bugatti Divo as the Team EU reserve car, bringing up 4th. Let's see if he can make anything happen on lap 2. Look at that, it's going to be a close battle between all of these cars. The Porsche is going to lose it as the Viper manages to hold the lead and take it going into lap 3. It's the Bugatti Divo reserve car for Team EU finishing in 2nd. The Porsche moves all the way back to 3rd and Circle Tracker falls back to 4th. One more lap to go. Can this Divo make some moves? Team EU now on the back foot as they enter lap 3. The Viper holds the lead for Team USA, and we got the EU Divo and the EU 911 in 2nd and 3rd. Can the Hot Wheels Circle Tracker do anything from 4th? Who's going to take this? It's going to be hard to say. Let's find out. A bad start for the Divo is not good, but take a look at this. The Team EU cars race together on the outside to secure a 1-2 finish. This is huge for Team EU as they get past the USA Viper, and it's going to be the Porsche bringing it back and taking the win for Team EU. And hey, the Divo finishing 2nd on his debut is not bad at all, subbing in for that BMW. What a run. The Viper falls back to 3rd, and Circle Tracker with another last place finish for Team Hot Wheels is it's not looking good for his future in the sport, not gonna lie, but an unbelievable finish for Team EU in this race. The Porsche secures another win, and this is gonna have huge implications on the Constructors Championship as we have one more race to go before the playoffs. Stay tuned. It is time for the last Diecast Grand Prix of the regular season, and today we have a very, very stacked race. We have Team UK's Lotus Evija starting on pole, with Team JDM's Nissan Skyline starting to his outside. The Ferrari 458 and the McLaren F1 both looking to score crucial points and coming off win streaks for their respective teams, but this is the last race before the playoffs. Who can score those really crucial points at the end? Let's find out after lap 1. Look at that, it's a clean move for the Ferrari and the McLaren as they manage to improve their positions over the Nissan for Team Japan. It's going to be the Lotus Evija, though, driving away from it, taking his lead and extending it, but the Ferrari now moving up to 2nd, and the F1 also moved up to 3rd. A very close battle between all these cars as we go into lap 2. Going into lap 2, the Ferrari on the outside and McLaren on the inside have to give it everything if they want to get past this Team UK car in the Lotus Evija. Can the Nissan also improve his position? We got 2 more laps to go. Let's see what happens after lap 2. Look at that, the F1 gives the Evija a huge shove, but it doesn't matter. Look at that. The back runners, the Ferrari and the McLaren, move to the front row going into lap 3. The Lotus spins out and the Nissan isn't able to capitalize on it. Huge. The top 2 cars are now in the back going into lap 3, and it's going to be a battle, a drag race between the F1 and the Ferrari to see who wins the last race of the regular season. It's the last lap in the season. All comes down to this. The 458 has raced his way up to the front for lap 3. The McLaren F1 to his outside, 4 record runners. Both of these cars could use a win for their points total, but we've got those 2 fast cars in the back as well. It's anyone's race. Last lap, farthest car wins. Who is going to take it? Let's find out. Look at that, a huge run. Look at that, it's a huge run for the F1. They jostle for position, but the McLaren F1 is going to take the win for record runners, barely beating out the Ferrari 458 on the drag, and the Nissan also moves up to 3rd as the Lotus falls to last on the last lap. What a chaotic race. A bunch of passes made, but it's going to be the F1 ultimately coming home as your victor, and that's going to be 3 wins in a row for the McLaren, finding the speed for record runners when he needs to, and that is going to conclude our regular season championship. Wow, stay tuned for info and more to come for the champions. The playoffs are up next, so stay tuned for the results of the Constructors Championship and stay tuned for the playoff races for the Drivers' Championship. Well, I must say that was a spectacular second half of the DGP season to finish off the regular season. We had some new cars really show up, like the McLaren F1. Dior scored some valuable points for Team Hot Wheels, and Team USA, while they tried super hard, weren't able to find the results they were looking for. Team Italy was carried by the 458, who had multiple wins. The Team EU cars had to bring out their reserve car, who actually performed really well. Team UK, absolutely dominant as always, the Jaguar being one of the top contenders. Team 3, the Gold Sesto, same thing, but heartbreak for Team Japan as they were not able to bring the results that were expected of them from the beginning of the season, from first on the Constructors Championship. So now that that is over, it's time to hear the results of the regular season and get into the playoffs to crown ourselves a Drivers' Champion. Now that the regular season is over, it is time to crown ourselves a Constructors Champion, move these cars around on the grid, and figure out which 8 cars are going to be racing for a Drivers' Champion in the DGP playoffs. And it's going to be some very exciting stuff, so sit back, listen to these statistics, and let's hear how all of these teams did in the first season of the Global Diecast Championship. Take a good look. Here is the team order going into the second half of the regular season. Record runners there all the way at the back. And then we have Team JDM for Japan all the way at the front. But this is what the teams look like now, points-wise. It is Team UK bringing home the Constructors title for Season 1 of the Global Diecast Championship, scoring a total of 176 points across all 20 weeks of racing, and I guess they have a lot to attribute to their top 2 drivers, the Jaguar and the Lotus, both scoring a ton of wins for the team, is giving them the first place spot in the Constructors. In total, they had 11 wins combined across both of their cars, with the Jaguar XJ220 scoring 60% of their points at 106. They only had 2 last place finishes in the race, and with 14 podiums total across the entire team, they definitely deserve their first place spot on the grid. Now in second, we can't forget about Team 3, that Lamborghini Sesto Elemento had been absolutely dominant, coming in at 151 points, so around 25 points behind Team UK. So Team UK absolutely blew the Constructors Championship out of the water, but Team 3 held a very consistent second place throughout the entire season. The Sesto Elemento scored 80% of their points at 121 total for the team, but they had 6 last places. And remember, in last place you get 1 point, so that is not good for the team's hopes. Maybe the Devo has to bring some speed back to the table, but with 7 wins total for Team 3, all of those wins going to the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento, they are going to put themselves second for the first season of the Global Diecast Championship. In third place, we had Team Italy, who only finished 6 points behind Team 3 with a total of 4 wins, all for the Ferrari 458, 9 podiums, and only 4 last place finishes for this team put them in third. They did have 1 DNF when the Lamborghini Leventon wrecked there at the beginning of the season, but it's going to be the Ferrari 458 scoring around 80% of the team's points with all of those first place finishes, and that put them really high up on the drivers' rankings as well. But I'll get to the drivers' rankings soon once we discuss all of these teams' records throughout the season. Team JDM is going to come in 4th for the Constructors Championship, scoring a total of 137 points throughout the entire season, and they definitely suffered some loss there in the second half. In the first half of the season, the team scored 88 points, and in the second half, they scored only 49 points across the team, with 6 wins total, 10 podiums, but 3 last place finishes really brought their score down there at the end, as the NSX scored the majority of their points with 55% of the points. and the NSX scoring around 76 points. Both of these cars had pretty even performances, but it was the NSX that showed up as the star, so now they are the front runner in this team, and the GTR is going to hold a solid second in the team, but still a very consistent team. Finishing 4th overall is not bad for the Constructors Championship at all. In 5th place, we had Team EU, Team Eurospeed, and they finished 5th in the Constructors Championship, scoring a total of 128 points, so around 10 points / 9 points behind Team JDM there at the end of the season. And like Team JDM, they had a really strong first half of the season, scoring around the 3rd most amount of points there at the first half of the season, but then coming back with half of the points scored. So 84 points in the first half and 44 points in the second half means they really dropped off in performance in the second half of the season, with only 3 wins to their name, 2 of them going to the Porsche, 1 of them going to the BMW. They had 11 podiums overall. That Porsche finished 2nd so many times, and 3 last place finishes that put them 5th in the Constructors Championship. So definitely a team looking to improve and get better finishes in the next coming seasons of DGP, and I would not be surprised if they also messed with their roster a little bit before the next season, because 5th place for Team EU is good, but not representative of the speed they actually showed, so a team to keep an eye on for sure. In 6th place, we have Team Record Runners. This is the fan team where all of my fans on the Instagram voted for the cars that were going to be racing for this team, and at the beginning of the season, it did not look good. They only scored 42 points in the first half of the season, but brought it back with a total of 63 points in the second half, totaling at 105. So about 20 points behind Team EU. So definitely a gap there in the points, but I gotta be honest, the McLaren F1 here, a brand new car they brought in for the second half of the season, came and performed. With 3 wins total, the team had a total of 6 podiums and 5 last place finishes, which is not good for the points of this team, but with the McLaren F1 scoring that many points, it put them up 2 spots in the Constructors Championship, and the F1 is going to be eligible for the playoffs. But again, I'll get to that here in a second. But again, really good stuff from the second half of the season for Team Record Runners. Definitely a team to keep an eye on as this series progresses. And in 7th place, we have Team USA. Team USA swapped both of their cars for the second half of the season after scoring only 52 points total at the first half. And when they did their car swap, they ended up only scoring 51 points there in the second half. So both of the cars having around the same consistency, the Viper and the Corvette here, as the Viper and the Tesla that were racing earlier in the season, and we came home with a total of 103 points, which is only 2 points behind Record Runners, but still 7th place in the Constructors, not where this team wants to be. Only 2 wins, one of them going for the Dodge Viper and one of them for the Tesla that is no longer racing for the team. 6 podiums and 5 last place finishes. The 2013 Viper ended up scoring 29 points for the team, and all of the cars here for Team USA didn't end up scoring that many points for the team. So not very good for Team USA. I would not be surprised if they swapped out their roster to try and get those Team USA cars up in the front where all of the contenders are for the title, but we've got no Team USA cars competing for the playoffs, and that is just unfortunate for this team. And last but not least, the team that is last on the grid, we got Team Hot Wheels. In the first half of the season, they scored 50 points. In the second half, they only scored 35, coming in for a total of 85 points, which is around 20 points behind Team USA. So definitely the last place cars. They did come home with 2 wins, both of those wins being attributed to the Diora 2, who seemed to be the only Hot Wheels car with speed through this entire season. Bone Shaker did not have any speed in the first half, and Circle Tracker obviously did not have any speed in the second half, with only 5 podiums and 8 last place finishes, a lot of those being contributed by Circle Tracker and Bone Shaker. This team unfortunately did not score a lot of points. In fact, Diora 2 scored 77 points total throughout the season for the team, which is 91% of their entire total. So not very good for Team Hot Wheels, but they're going to finish last in the Constructors Champion. And in the history books, of course, Team UK, first place in the Season 1 of the Global Diecast Championship. They are the team to beat going into Season 2. But now we have to talk about the individual driver performances. First up, let's talk about wins. Each car had the ability to have 10 wins. Would have been a perfect season because each car raced 10 times, but the car with the most amount of wins through the entire season was, of course, the gold Lamborghini Sesto Elemento with 7 wins on the season for Team 3. followed by 6 wins for the Lotus Evija and 5 wins for the Jaguar XJ220, both of the UK Motorsports cars, putting themselves second and third on the win list is absolutely insane. Following them is the Acura NSX and the Ferrari 458. The NSX for JDM, the 458 for Team Italy, both with 4 wins on the season, and the McLaren F1 GTR behind there for record runners, coming in with 3 after winning 3 races in a row there at the end of the season. The F1 definitely has the heat going into the next season, but that is very interesting stuff. The win rates obviously are attributing to where these teams ended up on the Constructors title, so that's pretty cool. Now, in order to talk about playoff points, I want to show you guys what I'm looking at for all of the points scored. As you can see, we have all of the cars from this season currently listed with how many points they've scored for their team in the first half and the second half of the season with their season total. Now, the season total does not indicate the playoff points. The playoff points are given after the first half and second half of the season, with the second half of the season giving more playoff points to cars that earned it there near the end. So, example, the F1 GTR did not have any points in the first half of the season because he was not racing, but with the 40 points afterwards, he finished like 4th in the standings for the second half, got 4 playoff points, and 7 playoff points there, and actually slotted in around 5th for the playoffs. So here is the playoff roster. The Jaguar XJ220 scored the most amount of points and is going to go directly to the final matchup because of how many points he scored. So congrats to the Jaguar. But then we've got the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento seeded 2nd, the Ferrari 458 seeded 3rd, the Porsche 911 seeded 4th, the Acura NSX seeded 5th, the McLaren F1 GTR seeded 6th, the Lotus Evija seeded 7th, and finally the Nissan GTR for Team Japan is going to be the 8th seeded car for the playoffs, and all of those drivers are going to be competing for a championship very, very soon. Some honorable mentions of cars that earned playoff points but didn't actually have enough to make it into the playoffs. The BMW M2 finished 7th at the end of the first half of the season, getting 2 playoff points, and the Devo finished 8th, getting 1 playoff point. Both of these drivers are not going to be able to make it into the playoffs because they did not score playoff points in the second half of the season. And then also the Team USA Dodge Viper finished 8th out of all of the cars here at the end of the second half of the season, getting 3 playoff points, but that is not enough because the Nissan ended up with 5. So very, very close battling between all these cars, but let's go ahead and take a look at all the playoff cars before we get into the races. So before we get into the racing, here are your 8 playoff drivers going to be racing for a championship. In first, like I just mentioned, the Jaguar XJ220, because he had the most playoff points at the end of the regular season, he is going to be slotted in first, seated first for the finale matchup, so he will not have to race his way there. Very fortunate for him with those 18 total playoff points. And in second and third, we actually had a tie for 15 playoff points between the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento and the Ferrari 458, but the total season points for the Sesto were higher than the Ferrari's points, 102 to 98, so that is why the Sesto is seeded 2nd and the Ferrari is seeded 3rd, both with 15 playoff points. In 4th, we have the Porsche with 9 playoff points. In 5th, we have the NSX tied with the McLaren F1 GTR at 7, but because the NSX raced both halves of the season, he had more regular season points to be seated in front of the McLaren F1 going into the playoffs. And then, of course, the Lotus Evija with 6 and the Nissan GTR with 5 playoff points, rounding out your top 8. And as you can see, taking a look here, we got both of the Team JDM cars, both of the Team UK cars, and then only 1 from EU, 1 from Italy, 1 from the Record Runners, and 1 from Team 3. 0 cars from Team USA and Team Hot Wheels are in the playoffs, but these 8 cars have proven themselves to be the fastest in this series. So let's go ahead and talk about the different rounds of the playoffs and get to the racing. There are going to be a total of 4 playoff races, with the 4th race being for the title with the top 4 cars. So we have to first eliminate some cars and advance some cars to that final race. So let me explain how this is going to work. The first playoff race is for seeds 5 through 8. So it's going to be these 4 cars battling out to see who cannot finish last, because the last place car is going to be eliminated and the other 3 cars are going to be able to keep racing to see if they can make it to the final matchup. So the first playoff race is an elimination race, with the last car being eliminated from the championship. The second race, we will see the other top seeds battle it out. So because the Jaguars already made it, he's already locked in, but now we have to find the second car that's going to be locked in. So we're going to take our top 2 through 4 seeds and the winner of that last race to get those 4 cars, and the winner of that race is going to be moving on to the finale, and last place is going to be eliminated, leaving us with, I want to say, 4 cars. The third playoff race is going to be the last chance qualifier, so those 4 cars, the top 2 are going to move to the final race, and the bottom 2 are going to be eliminated, leaving us with only 4 cars in the championship race. The finale race will be a 5-lap matchup instead of only 3 laps like the season has been, and the winner at the end of lap 5 will be your Global Diecast Championship Drivers Champion. I know that is quite a mouthful, and that's very confusing for me to just explain here on a YouTube video, but trust me, it'll make a lot more sense in the tournament. So let's go ahead and get our first matchups ready and crown ourselves the Drivers Champion. All right, I think I've explained everything I want to explain here. After the season is over, we've got our 8 playoff cars ready to go, and now I think it's just time to put them on the track and crown ourselves a champion. So yeah, let's wrap this series up. It's time for the first round of the Global Diecast Championship playoffs, and right now we have our 5th through 8th seed here for the playoffs. In 5th, we got the NSX starting on pole with that F1 GTR for record runners to his outside. We got the Lotus Evija and Nissan GTR there in the back trying to move on. The last place car in this race after lap 3 is going to be eliminated from championship contention. Let's see who can survive after lap 1. Look at that, it's going to be close. The F1 GTR, though, is going to run away with it. He's going to get to the front with the Lotus Evija going with him, finishing 2nd in that race. The NSX is going to fall back to 3rd, and the GTR, unfortunately, is going to fall back to 4th as well, as we got 2 more laps to go. As we enter lap 2, the record runners are currently sitting in the front with the Lotus Evija for Team UK to his outside. Remember, the winner of this race moves on to the next round of the playoffs, and the loser actually is eliminated from championship contention. So let's see what happens after lap 2. Look at that, it's close. The Lotus, though, is going to manage to get an outside pass, and so is the Nissan. The Nissan races up from last, passes the F1 GTR, puts him in the back row, and it's going to be the NSX starting the last lap in last place, but that Lotus has the speed to get around the competition. He is going to finish in 1st after lap 2, as we've got 1 more lap to go. Who is going to get eliminated? With 1 more lap to go, the loser is eliminated from championship contention, and the winner of this race will race in the next round with an opportunity to go to the final matchup. Who's it going to be? All these cars have proven themselves over the season, but only one of them is going to get eliminated. Who finishes last and who wins? Let's find out. Look at that, it's going to be chaotic, but look at the NSX. The NSX is going to squeeze by from last place and finish 2nd. The Lotus is going to take the win, move on to the next round of the playoffs with a chance to move on to the final race. And take a look at that. The F1 is going to wreck in front of the Nissan, causing him to finish last and be eliminated from the Global Diecast Championship for the drivers. Unfortunate for the GTR that he's not going to be racing for a championship, but the Lotus is going to be racing in the next race with the top seeds to see who is going to race themselves into the playoffs and who is going to be eliminated, who's going to join the Jaguar for the final race. We've got 2 more playoff races to decide it. In the next race, 1 car gets eliminated and 1 car moves on, so stay tuned. We're going to crown a champion very soon. It's now time for the second round of the playoffs in the Global Diecast Championship, and we have some of our fastest seeds. We have the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th seed. The Cessna starting on pole with the Ferrari to his outside, Porsche in the back, and then the Lotus raced into this race. Last week, the loser from this race is eliminated, and the winner moves on to the final matchup to start alongside the Jaguar. So let's see what happens after lap 1. Who is going to come out on top? Look at that, it's going to be the Sesto and the Ferrari pulling a solid 1-2. The Porsche tries to make a move on the Ferrari, but is not going to make it. The Lotus also falls behind as the Sesto Elemento for Team 3 is going to hold the lead easily as we go into lap 2. As we go into lap 2, the positions stay the same. That Sesto looks fast, but the Ferrari to his outside is looking to make some moves. Who's going to move on to the finale and who's getting eliminated? Let's see what happens after lap 2. Look at that, the Porsche is going to manage to get a spot in front of the Ferrari this time. The Lotus tries to make a move on the Ferrari as well, but isn't able to get there. The Sesto Elemento races all the way to the start-finish line, obviously holding his lead going into lap 3, and it's going to be the Porsche starting on his outside as we go into 1 more lap to go. The Lotus needs to make up some moves, or otherwise he's going to be eliminated from the championship. And it looks like the Sesto might be racing alongside the Jaguar in the finale. But we got one more lap to go. Let's see what happens. It all comes down to this. Which driver is going to race to the finale and which driver is going to get eliminated? Now we got the Ferrari on the inside behind that Sesto, who has been super fast. But can the Porsche with the Lotus behind make anything happen? One more lap to go. Let's see what happens. Look at that. It's going to be the Sesto absolutely running away with it. And it's going to be the Lotus barely passing the Ferrari at the last second. Unbelievable moves from the Lotus as it's going to be the Ferrari getting eliminated from championship contention. The Sesto races to the start-finish line, and he's going to start alongside the Jaguar for the finale matchup. And it's going to be the Porsche and the Lotus racing another day as they're going to be in the race next week to see which top two cars move on to race in the finale as well. But very unfortunate for Team Italy. Was looking really strong, but now the Ferrari with that last place finish is out of the championship. But there will be more seasons, and the Ferrari will have his redemption. We got 2 more races to go before we crown a champion. Who do you think is going to take it? The Sesto is going to start second behind the Jag for the finale matchup, but we got one more race to see who's going to join them, and we got the 4 cars still alive. So next race, the top 2 are going to move on, and the bottom 2 are going to get eliminated. Unfortunate fat Ferrari again, but hey, that is the way the cookie crumbles. As we got 2 more races to go before we crown a champion, who do you think is going to take it? Comment down below. For the 3rd round of the Global Diecast Championship, we have our last chance qualifier for the cars who need to race on to the championship. The top 2 of this race will move on to race in the finale, and the bottom 2 will be eliminated. We got the Porsche for Team EU starting on pole with the Lotus Avia, who's been racing his way through the playoffs, starting on his outside with the Acura NSX and F1, McLaren F1 behind him. Let's see what happens after lap 1. Look at that, it's going to be chaos. Looks like the NSX is going to wreck the Lotus there on the straightaway, causing the Lotus to fall all the way back to second. The Porsche is going to race to the lead, and the F1 GTR is going to race to his outside, starting second for the second lap as we've got 2 more laps to go. Who's going to move on? As we enter lap 2, it's the Porsche currently holding on to the lead, and the F1 GTR for record runners runs up to second place as we got 2 more laps to go. Who's going to lead the cars going into lap 3? There's only one way to find out. Let's see who makes the moves. Look at that, the NSX tries to make a move, but is shut by the Porsche into the wall. The Porsche races to the lead, and it's going to be the F1 to his outside going into lap 3. The Lotus is going to move up a spot, and the NSX, after getting wrecked by the Porsche on the backstretch, is going to start 4th. Remember, the bottom 2 cars are eliminated here, so who's going to race to the finale matchup, and who's going to get eliminated? As we go on to lap 3, everything is on the line here. The top 2 cars will race in the finale matchup, and the bottom 2 will be eliminated. 4 different teams trying to get their cars at the finale. Will Team UK get the Lotus in there to join his teammate, or will all of the other cars be eliminated from championship contention? There's only one way to find out. Who's going to move on to the finale? Look at that, it's fast. The Lotus in the F1. It's going to be the F1 making his moves, getting in front of the Porsche and racing his way to the finale. The Lotus tried his best, but unfortunately got caught behind traffic as the Porsche is also moving on to the championship finale. And it's unfortunate for Team JDM as the Honda NSX has been eliminated and removed Japan's attempts for the Drivers' Championship along with the Lotus, but we still have the Jaguar in the next race because now the next race decides everything. The McLaren F1 and the Porsche 911 have punched their ticket to the finale matchup, as now we have one more race to decide who the Drivers' Champion will be for Season 1 of the Global Diecast Championship. The finale matchup is up next, so stay tuned and comment down below who you think is going to take home the bag. 4 different teams represented, and all of them are proven race winners. Let's see who takes it with one more race to go. It's time to crown our Drivers' Champion for the Global Diecast Championship, and on pole, we got the Jaguar XJ220 into his outside, the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento, the Porsche 911 and McLaren F1 has raced their way into this race, but can they make any moves? Well, they have 5 laps instead of 3 to make it happen. Let's see how the cars end up after lap 1. Look at that, a great one for the Jaguar, but he's going to spin, and that's going to give the lead to the F1 early. But no, the Sesto actually races to the inside because he wants the lead. The Jaguar falls back to 4th as we got 4 more laps to go. As we enter lap 2, the Sesto's in the lead with the Porsche behind. Can the F1 make anything happen? Look at that, it's chaos again, but the Porsche is going to wreck in front of the field, getting in front of the F1 and slotting himself into second place. The Sesto is going to hold on to his lead, and the Jaguar is not able to make anything happen. We go into lap 3. We enter 3 laps to go, and now it's the Porsche to the outside of the Sesto. The Jaguar pushing him. Let's see who's going to come out on top. Remember, there's 5 laps, 3 laps to go. Let's see who comes out on top after lap 3. Oh, let's start him actually. Oh, look at that. It's going to be close. The Porsche tries to get to the outside of the Sesto, but he's not going to get there. The Jaguar tries to make a poop move on the F1, and he's also not going to get there. The positions stay the same, but the cars are jostling for position. Does anyone have anything to beat this Sesto? 2 laps to go, and this is a crucial lap. Who is going to lead the field on the final lap? The Sesto has been dominant, but that Porsche is looking to make a move. 2 laps to go. Who's going to come out on top? Oh, the Porsche tries again, but it's not going to happen. Look at that. There's commotion in the back. The F1 manages to squeeze through as the Porsche wrecks in front of the Jaguar. The Sesto absolutely runs away with it, and now the F1's going to be on the front row for the last lap. 1 more lap to go. Who's going to be crowned as the champion? It all comes down to this. Lap 5 of the Global Diecast Championship playoffs, and we've got the Sesto absolutely dominating. Can he take the first championship home for this first season for Team 3, or can any of these cars make any last-minute moves? It all comes down to this lap. It all comes down to this. The whole season comes down to whoever can go farthest on this lap. Let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. Oh, look at that. The Sesto's going to spin. The Jaguar makes a move for second, but it's going to be the Sesto Elemento managing to finish backwards, looking at the competition, and it's the Sesto Elemento is your Global Diecast Championship Drivers Champion. Here's the official lineup of finishers after the first season of the Global Diecast Championship. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope your team did pretty good, and shout out the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento for Team 3, taking home the dub for the team and finishing off the season strong. This is something I absolutely loved filming and will most definitely be filming a season 2 here in the coming time. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I had an absolute blast and I want to keep this series going. Comment down below your favorite moment from the entire season and who you want to see take on this series into the next season, because there's going to be some big shakeups in teams and a lot more fun information coming to this page very soon. So shout out you guys for watching. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next season of the Global Diecast Championship. Thanks for watching. Well, after months of filming and a ton of racing, the Global Diecast Championship Season 1 has come to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed all of that. It was really, really fun, and it turns out the Team 3 Lamborghini Sesto Elemento in gold has finally won a championship. This car has been racing on my channel for years, and I knew when I drafted it into the Team 3 team, I knew it would be contending for a championship, and there you go, coming out of the gate swinging. It's going to be the Sesto Elemento coming home with the first Drivers' Championship, and then Team UK also finishing 2nd and 5th in the playoffs and finishing 1st in the Constructors. So a very, very fun season. If you guys enjoyed this kind of racing and want me to do more of this, don't worry. Season 2 will be coming out eventually. I'll just have to figure out how to do this better, because this was my first time doing something like this, and I want to say it all turned out super well, but I want to be able to have it accessible for you guys to understand what's going on. And now that we have 1 season in the books, the next few seasons will be a lot easier to understand, as the rules are going to stay the same. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this absolute movie of a video. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to have more cars take on this track. But there are a lot more tournaments coming onto the channel in the near future, so make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment down below what your favorite moment was from this video, because there were a lot of highlights for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And make sure you follow the Global Diecast Championship on Instagram for future updates on the series. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Peace!